This is a 1996 Honda Acty key truck, otherwise known as a mini truck here in the United States, and it might be the most rare one ever built. Mini trucks like this were built for the Japanese domestic market in order to get around certain government restrictions around vehicle dimensions, engine capacity, and overall power output in order to produce cheap, low-tax vehicles for the general population. Mini trucks, along with several other key car variants, became incredibly popular throughout Japan and are now gaining traction in the United States as they become 25 years old and able to be imported. Key cars in general are very common, with millions produced over the decades from several different manufacturers. However, this one right here is exceedingly rare. From 1994 to 1999, Honda offered this built from factory 3-axle 6x6 crawler variant of the Acty, which was marketed as being more useful for getting traction in rural and mountainous areas of the country. As you can imagine, only a small handful of these 6x6 Actys were ever built, with their cost being about 3 times the cost of a regular 4x4 Acty, but this one is even more special than the rest. As you can tell, it has a Firetruck conversion, which was built for the 1998 Winter Olympic Games, of which I've been told there are only 5 ever made and only 4 exist to this day. It is, as far as I know, the rarest variant of one of the most common cars in the world, and so today I'm going to show you around what makes it so special, and then we're going to check out how well it can do the job of being an actual fire truck. I'm borrowing this amazing 6x6 fire truck from my buddy the Lewis Garage and his business Island Imports SSI, which just freshly imported this vehicle to the United States, and he also brings in some of the most unique vehicles from the Japanese domestic market I've ever seen. So if you're in the market for one of these, or if you just want to see some great behind the scenes footage, check him out today. Now, of course, the first thing I want to talk about is the extra axle on this truck, making it the 6-wheeled setup that it is. Now, this extra axle is added in front of what is typically the rear axle on most Acty trucks, and it is passive, technically making it a 6x4 setup. However, the trucks did come with a set of tracks that you could wrap around the rear wheels, allowing for some power delivery to that passive axle.
If we look underneath the mini truck, we can see how the drive shaft bypasses the middle wheels, going underneath a U-shaped arm that connects them to the chassis in order to deliver power to the front wheels, with the rear wheels being connected to the rear differential. Both sets of rear wheels use the same leaf spring suspension as well as independent air shocks on all 4 wheels. Now, atop the rear wheels is a steel cage that houses all the equipment needed to fight fires in rural Japan. This steel cage worked to fit what was a set of diesel water pumps that gave firefighters the water pressure they needed to do their job properly. Lewis tells me that it wasn't feasible to carry a water tank in this vehicle, so these were used when hooking up to a hydrant or pumping water from a nearby lake or reservoir. Unfortunately, these water pumps were removed at some point in the mini truck's history before Lewis took ownership. Throughout the cage, there are attachment points for fire extinguishers, hoses, warning lights, and tools to open fire hydrants, as well as seating for 2 additional firefighters, making it able to carry a total of 4 passengers. Rather than the typical foldaway bed on most Acty mini trucks, this one features a willow leaf cut plate for extra traction, as I imagine all the water used in operating a fire truck would make it an easy slipping hazard. The overall dimensions of the 6x6 crawler Acty are roughly the same as your normal 4-wheel drive Acty truck, albeit a bit taller, and you're definitely going to stand out more. On top of the cab, there is a megaphone siren apparatus, emergency lights, and an illuminated sign saying Sakai, which was the rural village in Nagano, Japan that commissioned these fire trucks. On the cabin doors, there is some text that, as far as I can tell, roughly translates into fire engine, and on the front there is a badge for the local fire department, replacing the typical Honda badge on Acty mini trucks.
Now, inside the Acty, it is a relatively simple interior, very similar to that of other mini trucks. You have your 2 seats, a simple steering wheel. As you can see, this one actually has a 6-speed transmission with an extra low and a slower reverse gear. And then you have your simple 1, 2, 3, 4 in reverse. But also on the inside of this, you see you have a couple switches here for your lights and sirens. There's of course also a megaphone for you to use in case you need to disperse any crowds at the Winter Olympics.
It is very loud.
Looking throughout the interior, you of course have your HVAC controls, AC, you got your radio. All the buttons are in incredibly good shape here. You have a little storage area with a little iPhone in there. You have a glove box with some paperwork and actually a badge from the fire department that ordered this truck. Now up here you just have your horn, you have your wipers, you have your lights, and this is actually power kill switch. Simple roll-up windows. Overall, in general, on the interior, it is pretty much just your general Honda Acty, save for the megaphone and a couple of extra switches for your sirens. And then if you look through the back, you can see where your extra passengers would be. I fit pretty well when it comes to vertical clearing space, but I do not have very much room in terms of leg space. So it seems like a pretty fitting ride for fighting fires in rural Japan.
Overall, this car's been kept in very good condition, covering less than 2,000 miles in its lifetime, but let's start her up and see what it's like to actually take on the road.
So we are in the 6x6 Firetruck, taking for our first drive. Loose up the helm. Not much space for two firefighters here, but we're trying to get the full experience we really can out of this. As much as we can. We got our hats, we got our fire extinguisher. Let's go see what we can find. See who we can save. All right, so it's got the 6-speed transmission with the regular 1, 2, 3, 4, but then the ultra low first and ultra low reverse.
And then a regular reverse. The ultra low first it's really crazy how actually slow it is.
So we got fully wide angle lenses going on, shooting all this stuff, but let me assure you, it is very tight in here. There's not
Very
much
small.
space at all. So what's the top speed on one of these? Because you can really only get like, what, 30 horsepower out of it?
It's 38 horsepower.
38 horsepower.
To the crank. So, like I said, I'm not quite sure how much actually goes to the wheels.
I guess like maybe 5 per wheel, if that.
Maybe.
Really blow by them with the 30 horsepower. And with all the firefighter modifications on this thing weighs about, what, 3,000 pounds?
Almost 3,000 pounds.
Which is 1,700 over a regular Acty.
1,500 to 1,700. So it is absolutely crazy how heavy it is.
So if we switch this right here,
Yes.
it
And
turns
then
on our
here's
lights.
the megaphone.
Be wary, citizens. Citizens, be safe. We're on our way.
Do y'all have any fires you need put out?
He does not like to turn with all 6 wheels.
And now we've got to try the seat in the back. So come up here. Get in safe. And we're going. So this is what it's like firefighting in rural Japan.
Pretty fun.
All right. So riding around is pretty fun, but we didn't find any fires. So let's see if we can find something for that and see just how good of a work machine she really is. Eight-year-old me would be so excited right now.